Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that naked won't go down. Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit won't go down. Corrosion to her thighs, erosion of her pride. Baby's got a shooter, baby's got corrosion now, corrosion now. Baby's got it.
Oop. What the hell? Good morning, Vietnam. How you doing? What happened? There were some things. And then this guy showed up. Good morning. I never... See, this camera's weird, right? You guys hear me okay? I got the mic up here this time. We're good. I think. Damn it. I had some goodies planned too. I was going to come out of that thing and then I fucked it up because I didn't have this shit ready But fuck it. I'll just do it anyway because my show, I don't give a fuck. Oh yeah, baby. Airwolf. Airwolf coming to your town. Jan, Michael, Vincent, Ernest, Borg 9, not Borg 8, not Borg 10, Borg 9, not 7 of 9 Borg, but Ernie Borg 9. And it was a TV show. And there was Simon McCorkindale. No, he wasn't in this. Alex Cord. He was the guy with the eye patch. All right, it's enough of that bullshit. Good morning, Vietnam. How's everybody? Everybody having a good day? Start your day off right. Desert Mantis. Hell right. Hey, fuck you kids. All this shit's for the old people. It's for Gen X. We were the forgotten generation. Not me, I didn't forget. I'm hungry, but fine otherwise. That's good. I'm sure you weren't talking to me. I'm sure that was an internal conversation I probably had no business getting myself into. Anyway, good morning, folks. It is Wednesday. We got a chock full day today. Coming up later, we're going to check in with George Galloway. He's going to talk about his reaction to losing in the Rochdale election of the MPs. So yeah, he's going to have that. And also shout outs to D around the world, and D and Friends, I believe, is on this evening. And the Willie Bragg show on tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Willie, is that how that works? Or is it 7 p.m. Central? Either way, it's on both on YouTube, around the world, D and Friends, and the Willie Bragg show tonight. Yeah. So there you go. Speaking of which, Willie, good to see you. We got Desert Mantis in the house. Rick Solis. Rick and Game.Film, both down there in Tejas. We're going to be talking about them, talking about the aftermath of Beryl, coming through there, Texas. Ding. I think it's a rule that every time you say the word Texas, ding, you have to spit into an imaginary spittoon. I could be wrong. This guy, what's going on? Seth's here. Desolate Vision, new album. Seth, I want to get you on the show one morning. Take the day off work. Come play with me on the show and we'll talk music. All right? Please. With sugar on top. I love you. Always. Who else is here? I believe that's everybody right now. And if I missed you, as always, I'll aim better later. Anybody over here on the Rockfin? Not yet. We're on Rockfin and Rumble as well. So ExtraBulla, all those things. Good to see everybody this morning. So, I don't know, man. The speaking gods are always against me because right before I do this shit, I'm always like cotton mouth and sweaty palms. Not good. But like I said, if I'm nervous, it's usually over the tech stuff that makes me nervous. So, all right. So, you know what? We're going to, oh, cool. You're going to do it. All right. So, we're going to get Desolate Visions on here. Seth Pinder, the man, the myth, the legend, and hella funny guy. All right. I'm not trying to put pressure on him. But you know, he makes me sound like I'm reading the phone book, sadly, with no pants on. Rick down in Texas, yes. Yeah, knocked out our internet for a bit down here. Not for me, though. Got rural broadband out here. Rural broadband, that's going to save a lot of people. That's for sure. No, you have to wear pants. You have to wear pants. Pants for me is optional because I'm not getting up. And if I do, well, you're welcome in advance. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. So we are talking about Texas and Hurricane Beryl that came through there. So Hurricane Beryl kills 2, knocks out power to millions in Texas. Hurricane Beryl made landfall in the United States near the city of Houston, killing at least 2 people and knocking out power to millions. So let's get the details on that. After Hurricane Beryl made landfall in Texas near the city of Houston, strong winds and heavy rains flooded streets and toppled power lines. The 2 deaths occurred separately when trees fell on homes.
That tree limb right there could have been through the roof of our house instead of our shed. That one could have gone on our house instead of this way. So we'd just be grateful.
Over 1,300 flights have been canceled and key shipping ports closed. The storm already killed nearly a dozen people in the Caribbean. Yeah, so that is the update there. Or at least that was the nuts and bolts of what happened. So, and it wasn't just Texas that was affected too. Of course, it's a hurricane, and it turned into a tropical storm, then it turned into a tropical depression, but it's still a massive weather system that's going through the United States. So what's going on with it now? So this is both of these were from Al Jazeera. Beryl leaves trail of destruction as several U.S. states face flooding threat. Authorities say the storm could cause flash floods and tornadoes as it moves across large swaths of the United States. So, where it's heading when it goes up through Texas, it's going up through Texarkana, and that's basically where Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana meet, and making a beeline through the middle of the country. So, and that's also the ass end of a tornado alley too. So in hurricanes, even tropical depressions, they'll still spawn tornadoes. So if you're in those areas, please, treat this just like it was a hurricane. Make sure you got batteries and water or the hand crank devices I was talking about the other day, flashlights and radios. Make sure you're prepared to get out of the path of severe weather, right? That could be spawned off this. So Beryl lashed the southern United States, leaving a trail of destruction across Texas and spurring authorities to warn of possible flash flooding in several other states. Yesterday morning, the National Hurricane Center said Beryl could bring flash flooding from the lower and mid-Mississippi Valley to the Great Lakes through today as it sweeps across the country. And like I said, tornadoes are also possible in parts of Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, they said. So Beryl made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on Monday morning, bringing winds of around 130 kilometers per hour. That's 80 miles per hour for all you non-metric peoples, to the coastal town of Matagorda before losing power as it churned inland. Yeah. So that's the thing. You have like the pre-storm where like shit's going crazy, and then the storm makes landfall, and then it continues to churn, though although not as powerfully as it was when it was in open water. It is still dangerous. In the wake of that, there was Texas is I think Texas has its own power grid. Is that right? And that's bad enough. So it's even worse when the power company CenterPoint, I think, in Texas, is not on the ball with what getting prepared for these storms, because it's not like it was a hurricane that came out of a tornado that came out of nowhere. It was a hurricane. They had plenty of time. A friend of mine had a neighbor that had a tree fall on their house, and they were okay, but the house was done. I know, man. It's like them trees are double-edged swords, man. You like to keep those trees next to the house, get that nice, cheap shade, save a little bit on the AC during the summertime. But shit, when those fucking tornadoes and high winds come, those things turn into like fucking baseball bats, just beating the fuck out of everything. So, but so the acting Texas governor, who's he? Wait a minute, who's that? Where's Abbott? Oh, that's right. Rumor has it one should not mess with Texas. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But this is the KHOU 11 out of Houston talking about acting Texas governor pledges to hold CenterPoint accountable for the Beryl preps. Let's watch if we can make those dreams come true for me and you. Do this, and we'll do this. Oop, hang on a second. Oh, technology, you fickle, fickle beast. There.
Team coverage for you, starting with the question, could CenterPoint have been better prepared?
Now, we first reported yesterday how the company did not stage mutual aid repair crews in Houston before Hurricane Beryl. Now, investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski is learning more about their response and joins us live. Jeremy?
Well, the questions hovering over the 1.5 million powerless CenterPoint customers are these. Was the electricity provider slow out of the gate in its restoration efforts? And now, is it playing catch-up? Hours before Beryl battered the state, Texans were assured
CenterPoint is ready to go.
But we've since learned that, unlike in past hurricanes, CenterPoint did not position out-of-town crews in Houston before the storm, so they could immediately hit the ground once the hurricane moved through.
Outside help really has gotten out of the gate a half day late.
While they were not in Houston, they were in nearby locations.
Where were those nearby locations?
Crickets.
Jeremy, again, factual information that I can look into and get back to you on that.
And what about the number of outside workers CenterPoint requested and when? A spokesperson says pre-Beryl, the company initially asked for 2,500, but after Beryl hit, CenterPoint upped that request for a total of nearly 12,000.
Did CenterPoint underestimate the need for the amount of personnel to get this job done and done quickly?
Again, I think what the case was is we relied on information that we had at the time. And so we appropriately prepared for what the event felt, what we felt the event would be.
At a midday briefing, acting Governor Dan Patrick said the threat from Beryl was clear, and he'll request a full report of where outside crews were stationed and when they were asked to come in.
What do you pledge to do once the dust has settled to ensure that CenterPoint is held accountable?
Right now, Jeremy, if they made mistakes, we don't know if they did or not. If they made mistakes beforehand, then that will be addressed by the PUC. That's their job, and by the state legislature.
The PUC, of course, is the Public Utility Commission of Texas, which has regulatory oversight over CenterPoint. Meanwhile, listen to this. Just over the past 2 hours, CenterPoint has given 3 conflicting numbers as to how many mutual aid workers are actually in Houston. The manager of local government relations said 12,000 linemen are in the field. The vice president of regulatory policy said 7,500. And the director of communications and writing told us 5,300 outside workers. The real number, Mia, we just don't know.
We know you'll continue to look for those numbers, though. Jeremy Rogowski holding the powers that be accountable tonight. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, Mia, too. Good job, Houston, right? So that's the thing, right? And that's part of the crumbling infrastructure of America, right? One of the telltale signs of late stage capitalism, the working on the cheap, as it were, cutting corners and trying to get as minimal. Because you know what? They didn't want the overtime. They didn't want to give those people overtime. And it's every goddamn fucking emergency like that. You're going to see some of these places do shit like that, where they hold back. They're like, well, we don't need that many people. It's not going to be that bad. And it's like you always want more people than you need in the field than less. I mean, I'm no coordinator for hurricane aftermath control or anything, but Jesus Christ, I think that's just kind of fucking common sense. Yeah, privatization is a hell of a drug. No shit. So everything's bigger in Texas, including the fucked up power system down there. Well, we're keeping it in the South, you know, because it is what it is. Mississippi, I grew up in Mississippi, lived there for 30 years, mostly on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Some in the northeast part of the state in Starkville and Columbus, Mississippi, part of the Golden Triangle. Probably involves drugs too, but I don't think so. I don't know. I think it means something else. But you know, so every once in a while I like to check in on Mississippi and see how the old home state's doing. And well, same as it ever was, as the talking head said, same as it ever was. So some new laws went into effect in Mississippi on July 1st. Anti-trans bathroom ban becomes law. So this is from the Mississippi Free Press. They are an independent news source down south, which is kind of a rarity. If you do live in the South, or you live anywhere, if you can get online and support these independent journalists, particularly in the South too, because we need more coverage down there. We need more real ones down there. So the transgender and non-binary people are now required by law to use public bathrooms that correspond with their assigned sex at birth under the SAFER Act. There are only two sexes and every individual is either male or female, Senate Bill 2753 says. Sex, quote, is objective and fixed. The new law, which Governor Tate Reeves, or Tater Tot, as he's affectionately known by people who can't stand him, signed on May 13th, says people must use single-sex restrooms, locker rooms, changing facilities, or college dormitories that align with their gender assigned at birth, regardless of their gender identities. All public buildings in Mississippi must have sex-segregated bathrooms or a unisex restroom under the bill. This probably, to a lot of our constituents and to a lot of people in this chamber, is probably the most important bill that we ever brought up. Really, Mississippi? Senate President pro tempore Senator Dean Kirby out of Pearl said on the Senate floor May 2nd. Under the law, Mississippians could sue others who use a restroom or facility that did not represent their assigned sex at birth. The person filling the lawsuit would not be able to receive any compensation under the bill, however. The SAFER Act is the latest in a volley of anti-trans legislation the governor has signed into law in recent years. Spoiler alert, conservative. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but he is, yeah, it's conservative. Including a 2021 ban on transgender students participating in school sports teams that match their gender identity, and a 2023 ban on puberty blockers and other treatment for trans minors. So that's Mississippi, you know. One step forward, two steps back. They pass medical marijuana down there, and they end up creating these draconian laws when they still don't have clean water in their capital city. All right, the guy who said what was he said? This was the most where's that dipshit? What did he say? Oh yeah, this is probably the most important bill that we brought up, right? So wondering about who bathroom shit is more important than getting clean water to the people in the town where you're making these laws, motherfucker. All right, commentary over. Sorry. It just pisses me off. It's like, yeah. But you know what's fucked up, Rick? Mississippi has the least number of homeless people in the country. But, you know, they have the least number. Well, they don't have the least number of people. I think like Montana has less than them, but yeah. And they didn't get slavery off the books until 1991 officially. Motherfuckers. The U.S. right wing are only able to achieve orgasm two different ways: privatization and making LGBTQ people's lives miserable. Right? You know, these people are a small minority, trans people, right? And they're just trying to live their lives just like everybody else. You know, sometimes you hear some of these mouthpieces that may not represent all trans people saying some shit and starting some trouble with people, and then people see that person as the total front for trans people. And it's like they're not a monolith. Nobody, no group of people's a monolith. Black people, Asian people, white people, nobody, we're not all the same. All right, so stop doing that shit. But maybe one day Mississippi will get their shit together. Meantime, in Kentucky, well, there's gonna be a little bit of some changes for all you people who like to choke the chicken there and use Pornhub. Well, guess what? Kentucky, you, my friends, are Kentucky fried. Because no more Pornhub in Kentucky. World's biggest porn site reacts to new state ID law. All right, so this was back in June, but I thought this was funny. It says you will lose access to Pornhub in 26 days. Okay, so this was the last month. So now the world's largest pornographic website is starting to warn Kentuckians you will lose access. Kentucky. What do they call it? The bluegrass state? It's going to be the blue ball state. You know what I'm saying? Right? But the blue balls. The world's that comes from the website Pornhub in response to the impending effective date of House Bill 278, which requires websites with content deemed, quote, harmful to minors, unquote, to collect documents proving the user's adulthood before allowing them access. The bill was passed late in this year's legislative session. Excuse me, after a push from the Republican caucus Liberty wings to add the age verification component to it. Once on the floor, it sailed through both chambers without a single no vote and was signed into law by Democratic Governor Andy Beshear. The bill takes place, what's today? The 10th? 5 days. So this bill's going to take effect next week. The effective date for all legislation passed this year. So other bills are going to go through on the 15th too. But Pornhub indicated to users that it will pull the plug on Kentucky on July 10th, which is today. It's a wrap. No more Pornhub in Kentucky. Finger looking good. Just had a new meaning. I don't even know what that means. Did you know your government wants you to give your driver's license before you can access Pornhub? The site told users in a statement topped with Kentucky state flag. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. As of today, you'll be required to prove you are 18 years old or older, such as by uploading your government ID for every adult content website you'd like to access. So these free speech and these folks like, not free speech, but the people saying like, they're passing these draconian laws, censoring all of us and stuff. It's like, well, now in Kentucky, you have a voter ID, and then I guess you'd have to have a choker ID, like a choking the chicken. We don't want minors accessing our site and think preventing that from happening is a good thing, but putting everybody's privacy at risk won't achieve that. So that's an interesting story there. Of them banning that. And now what's going to happen in Kentucky? I'm going to tell you the VPN purchases are going to go through the roof. I'm telling you that. No, I'm not in Kentucky. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm in Guam. Oh, man. And everybody knows. Well, I'll tell this. If you don't want to get embarrassed, I think there was a sketch. There was a comedy sketch, so I'm totally stealing from this. But I thought it was funny. The lady was about to type on her boyfriend's laptop. And she was about to hit the P button. And he's like, no! Because the thing is, when you hit the P button in the browser, if you go to Pornhub enough, as soon as you hit P, it's going to say, the rest is going to say Pornhub and then blah, 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 whatever. So, Word to the wise. If you're around somebody that doesn't like porn and you're trying to find a website that starts with P, navigate those waters very, very carefully. Willie says part of Project 2025 would be to make registering to look at porn a national law. Oh, that's part of that 2025 thing. Yeah, I've heard about the 2025 thing and the Agenda 47 Trump's thing or something like that. A lot of numbers. Damn, it's like a Willie Bragg countdown. It's like so many numbers. That's an inside joke. If you watch the Willie Bragg show, whenever he's going live, he has 2 countdowns. It's great. It's like you're learning numbers twice. Love you, Willie. Willie's the best. If you guys aren't subscribed to Willie Bragg on YouTube, make sure you are. The guy's he's solid gold, baby. Comes from a good place. Whether you agree with him or not, he's always willing to talk to people. You know, I always think of him as Ambassador Spock in this space. So live long and prosper, dude. Meanwhile, fuckers in the government trying to get you to get your kids in the draft. What? The draft? That's some crazy shit. You goddamn right it is. This is from antiwar.com. Great site. I cannot push these guys enough. Plenty of not just war news, but they have great geopolitical news on there too. Some opinion pieces too, but you know, common sense opinion pieces. So check them out, antiwar.com. So Senate joins House in proposal for, quote, automatic draft registration. Contrary to earlier reports, the U.S. Senate has joined the House of Representatives in moving toward a foolhardy attempt to automatically register all draft-eligible U.S. citizens and residents for a possible military draft by extracting and aggregating information obtained from other federal agencies. The proposal for automatic draft registration is among several previously undisclosed provisions related to selective service in the newly released version of the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, for fiscal year 2025, approved by the Senate Armed Service Committee and to be considered by the full Senate. The almost 1,200-page SASC proposal for this year's NDAA was approved by the committee and in closed session last month, and only a summary was released. At this time, a spokesperson for the SASC told Hasbrook, the author of this, where was I? Okay, that if automatic selective service registration had been included in the bill, it would have been included in the summary. That proves to have been incorrect. The proposal for automatic draft registration was included in the SASC version of the bill, but not in the summary. Let's see. So, exemption of women draftees for involuntary combat assignments. These are other previously undisclosed provisions related to the selective service in the SASC version of the NDAA. Repeal of federal law disqualifying non-registrants for the draft from federal jobs. Senate confirmation of the director of the selective service system. That's interesting. The director of the selective service system will once again be made subject to confirmation by Senate. You mean they haven't been? The director of the SSS. Well, watch out, boys, with those S's. You may not see what's coming. Used to be confirmed by the Senate, and confirmation hearings sometimes provided a forum for questioning by senators about the triple S policies and practices, but the requirement for Senate confirmation for the director and many other second-tier office holders was removed by the Presidential Appointment Efficiency and Streamlining Act of 2011. Jesus Christ, that sounds like bureaucracy on crack. The Vacancies Act limits the duration of temporary acting stand-ins, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. So they're trying to gin this up. They're trying to make it real. trying to make it real. Oh, girl, I want to get you in the army. Oh, try out this M16. Oh, it feels so good. Wow, wow. Fuck that shit. Meanwhile, in other dystopian U.S. news, let's see, okay. So, the U.S. to permanently remove that pier built off the coast of Gaza, right? So they built this pier to try to get humanitarian aid in there. And, of course, teats up because it's the U.S. military, right? The Associated Press, this is Dave DeCamp from antiwar.com. The Associated Press reported yesterday that the pier the U.S. military built off the coast of Gaza will be reattached to the shore on Wednesday and then permanently removed after a few days. The idea is to clear aid that is piled up in Cyprus and on the offshore floating dock before ending the mission, which has not brought any relief to the starving Palestinians in Gaza. Aid groups have criticized the pier as a public relations stunt to make it appear that the U.S. was doing something to get more aid into Gaza while continuing to support the Israeli military's genocidal war and starvation blockade. President Biden ordered the construction of the pier instead of pressuring Israel to open more land border crossings, which would have made much more sense, which is more efficient way to get the aid into the Strip. The Pentagon initially estimated the pier would cost $320 million to build and operate for 90 days, but later revised the estimate to $230 million. The Pentagon also had to spend $22 million on repairs after the pier was damaged by heavy seas. These things were only supposed to be in no more than 3 feet of water, and they're sitting out there just like just wobbling around out there. I mean, you see this bullshit right here. It looks like. It looks like some castaways managed to get some like pallets off the ship somehow, and then they put them together and make a raft. Like they're trying to, and hopefully some ship out at sea will see them. That's what that shit looks like. Oh, puppers. Gotta love the puppers. Even though he works for the man, he'll retire soon. You'll get to get out of that gig. Don't worry, pups. Yeah, the pier was removed from the coast several times due to weather that it could not handle. It was designed to be safely operated in a maximum of 3-foot waves and winds less than approximately 15 miles per hour. And heavier conditions are common in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. Yes, it's a churning cauldron of water and wind and hate. And really delicious food, though. Oh, Mediterranean food. Delicious. Get the couscous, but not the Israeli. Get the good stuff. Aid delivered through the pier also couldn't be delivered due to the security situation for aid groups. On June 9th, the UN's World Food Program halted operations in the area after the Israeli military struck its warehouses during the massive assault on Nusrat that killed over 270 Palestinians and freed 4 Israeli hostages. So yeah, tits up on the pier. Another example of the U.S. ham-fisting something that doesn't need to be ham-fisted at all, that could have easily been fixed. But you got to make everything difficult, right? Speaking of making everything difficult, we got Columbia University, with the students there protesting. They've suspended 3 deans for, quote, antisemitism, unquote, in private text messages. Decision is latest example of Ivy League schools squashing speech critical of Israel. This is from Middle East Eye on the web. Okay. Columbia University has suspended 3 administrators saying they exchanged anti-Semitic text messages during a seminar on Jewish campus life in May. In a letter released on Monday, Nimak Shafiq, Columbia's president, said the administrators, quote, disturbingly touched on an ancient anti-Semitic tropes. Whether intended as such or not, these sentiments are unacceptable and deeply upsetting, conveying a lack of seriousness about the concerns and experiences of members of our Jewish community, Shafiq wrote. Hey, Kate, good to see you, sweetie. Good morning to you. F y'all doing up at this hour, Jesus. I haven't even had my coffee. Get your coffee, lady. We still got a little time to go here. We're doing all right. A suspension came after conservative news outlet The Washington Free Beacon leaked photographs of the three deans' text exchanges, which included one dean using 2 vomit emojis in response to a reference to an article published in the Columbia student newspaper by Yonah Hain, the campus rabbi, about students' response to 7 October. In the article, Hain wrote, "Debates about Zionism, one state or two states, are all welcome conversations on campus." But he said statements of support for the Palestinian resistance equated to the, quote, normalization of Hamas and a point of no return moment at Columbia. There's an elbow room in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. I wonder how far away that is from here. I'll have to check that out. 3 deans include Kristen Crom, the former dean of undergraduate student life, Matthew Patashnik, the former associate dean for student and family support, and Susan Chang Kim, the former dean and chief administrative officer. In a separate exchange, Chang Kim expressed her reservations about the panel speaking on antisemitism. This is difficult to listen to, but I'm trying to keep an open mind and learn about this point of view, she wrote. In a separate text, Patashnik texted the one speaker that one speaker was, quote, taking full advantage of this moment, adding huge fundraising potential. In another exchange, the deans appeared to suggest that the parent of a Jewish student had access to Columbia administration because of her wealth. And on and on. So the suspension of the deans is the latest example of how Ivy League schools have moved to squash any speech critical of Israel or simply challenging the view that students who express pro-Palestinian sentiment incite anti-Semitism. So there you go. The fun never ends at Columbia University. But you gotta love those kids, man. They're sticking strong, not just there, but around the country and around the world too. You know, because there's genocide going on over there, folks. I hate to use the G word, but that's it. You know, we got to tell the truth. So, please tell your friends what's really going on over there. Don't let them be in the dark anymore. Okay. And it's going to be tough. It's probably going to take a little while to get through to them, but maybe you can show them some things that'll change their mind, but who knows? Bella. Hey, Virginia, too. Good to see both of y'all. Morning. Bella, did take the poll. Oh, the poll. What's going on with the poll? 38% of you so far are good. 62% of you are meh. That sounds about right. Congratulations. Well, you know, we're not going to leave you with, like, shitty, sad news about people getting suspended and all that, and, you know, possible drafting of our kids into an imperialist army. No, we've got some Frenchy good news, right? So, you know, they had the French elections, and the left-wing parties got together and held back Macron and Le Pen. But it turns out that Le Pen not only getting that third place showing, probably in a little bit of the poopy sauce, because French prosecutors have launched an investigation into Marine Le Pen's campaign finances. Prosecutor's office says it will look into allegations of embezzlement, forgery, and fraud, and accusations that a candidate on a campaign accepted a loan, right? So French investigators are looking into far-right presidential candidate Marine Le Pen's 2022 campaign finances for an election she lost to President Emmanuel Macron, the prosecutors said. The investigation, which was opened on July 2nd, follows a 2023 report by the National Commission on Campaign Accounts and Political Financing, which scrutinizes candidates' election expenses and funding, they said. It will look into allegations of embezzlement, forgery, fraud, plus accusations that a candidate on an electoral campaign accepted a loan. I don't know, man. They kind of like shades of Trump, man. Like going after Trump and his taxes and stuff, and then they're going to go after the female Trump campaign stuff. In 2022, she had invested around 11.5 million euros in her third bid for presidency, the second time she faced Macron in the runoff, and lost to him. In December that year, the CNCCFP had objected to expenses linked to putting up and taking down campaigning materials on 12 buses, describing it as irregular. Yeah, so that's your girl, Le Pen. But the French ain't done, baby. Oh, no, sirree, Bob. This is from Bricks News. I think you'll enjoy this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Let me bump this up a little bit. So, France's new left wing, speaking of the left wing in France, the new Popular Front calls for a 90% tax on all income above 400,000 euros. I did not know that Dwight D. Eisenhower was French. The new Popular Front in France is proposing a 90% tax on all income above 400,000 euros. This radical measure is part of their economic program to fund social policies. Social policies. The NPF, a left-wing coalition, aims to increase the minimum wage, implement price controls, lower the retirement age. That they remember those riots they were having. They were having those protests about when Macron tried to raise the retirement age, and they were like, no, sacre bleu. And invest in the green transition and public services. Hopefully the right ones, not those silly, stupid green programs that is more harm than good. The proposed 90% tax rate would apply to annual income exceeding 400K. This move is seen as a way to redistribute wealth and address economic inequality in France. They put the blueprint out there for us. They put the blueprint out there, right there, the French. They said, you want the revolution? It is. It's right here. Why do you not see, you stupid American? Critics argue that such a high tax rate, the rich, argue that such a high tax rate could discourage entrepreneurship, that same old bullshit they say here, and investment, potentially harming the economy. Oh, fuck your economy. If it harms that economy, that doesn't affect us. If it's like the Wall Street economy, those kind of people, chef's fucking kiss. Supporters believe it's a necessary step to ensure a fair distribution of wealth. Oh, you didn't get a YouTube notification? I don't know. They're kind of hit or miss. Make sure you got that bell click thing if you're subscribed. Sometimes I don't know if that's it. If you do, and I don't know what it is. It's fucking witchcraft or some bullshit. The NPF's proposal comes at a time when France is grappling with economic challenges and political uncertainty. The outcome of this proposal remains to be seen. So, as the largest group in Parliament, the NPF is pushing for a prime minister who will implement their ideas, including this ambitious tax proposal. The French political landscape is in flux, with various parties jockeying for position. It's unclear how the group's proposal will be received by other political groups and the public. The NPF's proposal is part of a broader trend of left-wing movements across Europe advocating for wealth redistribution and social justice policies. The debate is likely to be fierce with strong arguments on both sides. It remains to be seen whether this radical tax proposal will become a reality in France. Vive la France, right? People making fun of them during the war in Iraq because they wouldn't. What was it? Yeah, it was something like they weren't be involved in the Iraq War. I don't think they were involved in the Gulf War either. So that's where you got instead of French fries, you got freedom fries from those idiots. That's where that came from. It's funny though. I just wanted to show this real quick. Talking about Eisenhower and the tax rates, right? So let's look at this chart real quick. Yeah, see. So this is, where is this from? This is from Bradford Tax Institute. Okay. That rag, if you can believe them. This is the history of tax rates from 1913 to the present. So look at this line here. So this, we're starting here, boop, goes up to close to 80% here around 1918. This was around World War I, right? Well, World War I's going on here. And you also had the Spanish flu going on there too. Drop down here, 25, 28, 29, the Wall Street crash, you know, Great Depression. That's this area right here. Then you go back up here to the 40s, right after World War II. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just reading something else. So look up here. So from the 40s, and you go through the 50s here, and then you get to the 60s, 64. Who takes office? Lyndon B. Johnson. Man, I'm gonna keep it light. Then you get to the 80s, and who was president? Well, I don't want my rich friends to get taxed. Well, so I'm going to lower the tax rates. And look at this motherfucker. We lowered it down to like 20-something%. 20-something%. Almost 30%. And then as you get into the 90s, you got Bill Clinton here, 94, 97. And then look, see? It's you get here. Think about the Republican Revolution in the 80s. It started here, let's say 88, right? The end of Reagan. And here we go. This is Bush, the Bush senior, right? That 4 years of, not gonna do it, not gonna do it. And then you get to here. This is Clinton. You go across here. This is to Bush. And then you go here to Obama. You get a little bit of a bump, and then you come back down. Look how flat that is. But back here, you talk about the heydays of the 50s. People are like, man, 50s were great. Yeah, because you didn't have to pay for all the social shit that you have to pay for now, like college. If you paid for college back then, it was like chump change. There were people that they could have a part-time job, pay rent, save up for a house, and go to school. Global solidarity, good to see you. Says no new taxes destroyed. Yeah, boy, it didn't that's the thing, that these social programs, and they were trying to demonize these social programs too, calling people welfare queens and stuff like that. State colleges were free. And a lot of people went to state colleges. That's why the state colleges are so revered. Because nobody can afford these private colleges. Thanks, Ed. Good to see you, bud. I thought that was delightful. Thank you, French people, for all that. What are we at here? Okay, so here we are. We're coming to this part of the show where I make a fool of myself again. But it's okay, because we love George Galloway around here. And as we reported last week, he lost his election in Rochdale to Paul Wach, I think is his name, W-A-U-G-H. George took it pretty well, actually. So he's here to tell us about the election. Take it away, George.
George Galloway, the mother of all talk shows. With George Galloway, the world is our classroom, and you're welcome to sit in and join the seminar.
Thank you, Philip. Last week, I sounded different than I normally do. That is because I have been and continue to suffer from a head cold. Hey, if that excuse is good enough for the leader of the free world, it's good enough for old Georgie boy. Also, last week I was defeated in Rochdale MP elections by Labour Tory and human turnip root Paul Waugh by only 1,400 votes. It probably didn't help that the night before the elections, I got pissed drunk and showed my goodies at the Tandle Hill Tavern. Needless to say, I won't be invited back to that establishment without proper adult supervision. But Labour was not done cracking the acorns in my undercarriage. Keir Starmer, CIA, MI5, MOUSE. This haggis is not only a WAF puppet, he's also the lost keyboard player for Echo and the Bunnymen. Legend has it that the band tried to drown him in the Thames, but he was so bloated with pork and a sense of self-importance that he floated to the top, like a chubby hanging about in the kludgy. But fear not, friends, for Moots is still the GOATs, the greatest of all time. Seriously. Yes, I've got the Lagavulin 16-year single malt scotch a-flowin'. Gayatri is spinning dope beats on the ones and twos, and your boy George fucking Galloway got the honeys lined up around the block like they were waiting for the new LeBron kicks to drop. Will I be back as a member of Parliament? Assuredly so. In fact, I just got invited back to Parliament only 20 minutes ago. I made my funk the P-Funk. But my days of slapping the space base with Bootsy and the gang are all in the rear view mirror. I was the other George in Parliament, by the way. In the meantime, Moats will continue to fight for the common person by day. I will continue to pursue the Joker as the Scottish Batman. Don't take the shite, Rochdale, you heard? Thank you, George. I don't know who Philip is. He was talking to Chris last week. Sounds like a running theme. Great Elvis Costello impersonation. Do 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 dun 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 dun. Radio, radio. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, that was some fun stuff. Did you guys enjoy that? That's they say there. Thanks. I appreciate that, Willie. That's not an impersonation, Willie. That's George Galloway. He and I we're pals. You know, we hang out together whenever I'm in Rochdale. You know, kicking it with my home slices. You know, in Rochdale, Scotland. Thank you, Desert Mantis. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's it, folks. I believe we're done. We stick a fork in us, but not literally, because I bleed easily. I'm a bleeder. I think that's it. To Friday, we'll have more goodies and stuff. And more news. Doing the things we're doing here. Just trying to get the word out. Oh, you like the Ronald Reagan too? Yeah. When you grow up 80s baby, you just hear Reagan all the time. You know, it was just it should permeate your brain, especially if you're one of these people that likes to you know, do impressions of people and stuff. Bella says, first time I saw Elvis Costello was on Saturday Night Live, and I thought it was a skit because no one had a head shape like that. I remember that. I think he sang Radio, didn't he? Was that the first time he was on there? Or did he sing Allison? I don't know. I can't remember. But, yeah. Good stuff there. I think we caught up with everybody here. Everybody, the latecomers, like I said, Global Solidarity, and Kate, and Osama number 5, liked and followed. Thank you so much, Osama. I appreciate you. You know, everybody's welcome here. This is a click and cult-free zone. Just come on in, take your shoes off. You know, make sure your feet don't smell too bad. Maybe put some of that medicated powder on there. Some Gold Bond. Get you some Gold Bond. And take care of yourselves out there. We will see you again Friday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. More news, more nutty stuff and all that. So peace out. Smell you later. Word to the mother. Deuces. Yeah, deuces.
This is City Alpha 5! Woo! Damn good song, wasn't it, dog? You like that song? All right.